I just spent the last 2.5 years as an analyst working at a real estate investment company. And this week I started a new job as an associate at a new private equity firm. I want to make this video as a really honest reflection of my last 2.5 years working as an analyst, the ups and downs, to give you guys a look into what it's like to work as a analyst or junior level person in the finance industry. But before we get started, I just want to say thank you guys for following this journey. A year ago, I posted a video about documenting the journey from becoming an analyst to an associate, and it's crazy to think that we are finally there. So with that, got a couple notes here, no scripts, just full honest review of my last 2.5 years. The first thing is realizing that a strong support system is absolutely critical. I view myself as a type A person, generally speaking, and I'm naturally more of an introvert. So those two things paired together generally means I push through problems, keep them to myself, just heads down, get to work type of energy. And I thought that type of personality, that energy, that way of conduct would be enough to push me through the tough hours that finance inevitably puts you through, the ringer. And for a long time, I realized that, and I thought that my love for the industry that I work in, topically real estate, would help push me through. That would be what I use to push me through, those things combined. Because you hear the stories of investment bankers burning out, private equity analysts, associates burning out, and I never thought I would be subject to that because one, I had a love for what I was doing, and two, I thought my personality could push me through it. But that unfortunately is not the case, and I had to learn that the hard way. In the last 2.5 years, there were multiple cycles in which, I'm working past midnight, working really long hours through the weekends, just a lot of workload. And in those moments, I realized that a love for the game, a love for real estate was not enough to keep me going. What kept me going now looking back is having friends and family beside you to not only support you, but to keep life interesting, right? It's not always about having them there to motivate you or having them keep pushing you to keep going. Because for me, a lot of that for me, I was able to do internally because I was bought into the goal of working in real estate. I'm very lucky that friends and family and relationships are one of the main reasons that I do what I do. And so having them there, I was always aligned from that perspective. But the thing that I want to point out is they're also there to make your life more interesting. Hanging out with them, just talking with them, talking about your ambitions, your dreams, the things that you want to accomplish in life. Having people around you that you can have those conversations with, and then also just shoot the shit and say random, funny stuff that you guys think is funny or comical, memes, whatever it may be, leisure type stuff, I realized was huge. And I feel very fortunate to have that support system of friends and family, my brothers, my girlfriend, my mom, my dad, and various friends that work in the industry, that don't work in the industry, that just help keep life interesting. Now that I've had a moment to think about it, post my analyst days, I realized that was really important in getting me through it, even as a type A person. The second thing was I learned how to be comfortable taking the risk to move on. I am someone that is more entrepreneurial. I know that about myself. And because of that, I always knew that the first job that I worked would not be the only thing that I ever did in my career or my life. And towards the end of that stint as an analyst, I started recruiting. And at one point towards the end of it, I hadn't received a job offer yet. I started to think to myself, hey, what if I just stick it out here, continue to get promoted, and build my career that way? And I kept battling that idea of maybe just leaving right off the bat, and even leaving without having a job offer in hand, because at that point in time, I was really unhappy where I was. just overall not aligned. And one night I was thinking really, really deep and hard about this. Couldn't sleep, and I just sat up literally right here in my journal and started to think, what would it look like if I continued in my current position as an analyst at that company? And in that moment, I made the biggest realization that I've ever made about career and risk, because in that moment, I played it out. If I continue to be an analyst, continue to work there at the same company, would that get me closer to my goals? And I realized the hard answer, or easy answer now looking back at it, was no. And when I said it out loud to myself like that, I realized that if I continue staying there, I would essentially just be taking on the worst option possible. If I go out, try something, fail, that essentially is not failure, because you're already starting from zero if you continue working at the company that you know you don't want to work at. And that reframed everything for me, thinking that way, that if I continue doing what I'm doing now, will that get me closer to my goals? No. Okay, well then everything else that you do is additive on top of that. Once I made that realization, it gave me a lot more comfort and confidence to go pursue new opportunities, and was something that was really instrumental in helping me make some final decisions at the end of the day. The third thing that I realized was it is very important to develop an unwavering self-awareness of your career ambitions. While I was in college, if I take you guys a step back, while I was in college and still figuring out what I wanted to do, I tried a bunch of stuff, eventually landed on doing real estate. Won't get into that story, it's a little bit long-winded, but you guys feel free to reach out if you want to hear that. I landed upon real estate, and I went to school at NYU, and at NYU, most kids who study finance will pursue investment banking. And in that time, pursuing real estate was still in the very, very small majority. And I remember feeling a sense of confusion, misfit, whatever you want to categorize it as, because everybody else was pursuing this one thing, really established path. I was doing this more niche thing, real estate. Nobody really did it. And at that time, I just justified it because, like, hey, I don't really have any interest in investment banking. Real estate's, kind of something I want to do in the future. I'm just going to go do it. And at that point, that was enough for me to make that decision to pursue real estate. And now that I've been out in the industry for about 2 to 3 years, alongside my peers, a lot of people are starting to hit a point where jobs are tough in terms of hours, just like myself. And they're starting to have a little bit of friction, animosity, or sort of general unhappiness in terms of what they're doing. And I realized, while I had that in some perspectives where I knew it wouldn't be aligned with my goals, I still generally feel very aligned and content about what I'm doing, because I see it as something that fits into my longer term vision, versus people who just pursued a career for investment banking because their friends did it, for example. And so it's made me think that having a self-awareness of your career ambitions is incredibly important, because if you just follow the herd, you'll end up doing something that is not aligned with what you wanted to do. Similar to how I mentioned, I knew I eventually want to be an entrepreneur, or be in a role that allows me to be more entrepreneurial. And knowing that about myself is how I made that decision, if you remember, of getting comfortable making the pivots outside of my job. Had I not known that, well, I think I would have viewed the entire analysis, the equation, differently, because if I'm confused about what I want to do, how is it possible for me to evaluate the current options that I have at hand? Those are the 3 things that are top of mind right now as I reflect on my last 2.5 years as an analyst. It's been an incredible journey. It's gone by really fast at times, but days have felt really long at times as well. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity that I had. It gave me a lot of great experience, a lot of great repetitions that I know have helped build a strong foundation for me into the real estate ventures that I do next, the work that I do next, and even non-real estate stuff that I do next. I just want to say thank you guys one last time. I've been focusing on posting TikTok videos, but YouTube is where all my social media journey started. So you guys are the OG. You guys have been here since I started documenting early in the analyst days, everything in between, burnout, stuff I was doing outside of work, to now finally becoming an associate. So feel incredibly grateful for you guys to follow the journey. If you feel like this video would be helpful to anybody else, feel free to share with them. Drop a like so that it reaches more people. It really helps me out grow this channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.